Good morning, students. In the online classes of B.Sc Part 1st Bio of M.D.S University Ajmer, in the paper first today we will study about fossils and their types. The geological records of evolution in the rocks or the records of the rocks can be compared to the records written by man because these present a written documentary of the evolution of certain animals, animal groups, and even of plants. These geological records are written in the rocks in the language of fossils, which are preserved remains of animals, plants, or their parts found in the various strata of earth. The term fossil literally comes from a Latin word fossilium, meaning something dug out, and it means anything that is dug out from the earth. But this anything in the language of biology means any type of remains of prehistoric organisms or almost anything that gives the evidence of the presence of organisms which lived in the past. Sir Charles Lyell defined fossils as any body or traces of body, animal or vegetable, buried and preserved by natural causes. That means the fossil may be an entire organism which got buried in the remote past, a mold or a cast of the entire organism or its parts, or unchanged parts or their replica, the footprints or even the imprint of a leaf on a stone. The fossils are either unaltered fossils or they are altered fossils. The unaltered fossils preserve their original composition as when they were first buried. That is, in a continuous dry or cold region, all the organic remains, even the softer parts, may remain unchanged for a longer time under exceptionally favorable conditions, and the organisms may be preserved intact in a medium that protects them from decay by bacterial action. The altered fossils. In this, the organisms become more or less completely altered by infiltration of minerals from the surrounding rocks. For such fossils, the term petrifaction is applied, that is, turned to stone. That means the fossils are turned to stone. Now, the different types of fossils. There are various types of fossils, and we are going to study these types today. First is the body fossil. The fossils of the hard parts of an organism, such as shell, tooth, or bone, are called body fossils. They range from the microscopic sea dwellers to huge terrestrial dinosaurs. These provide the details of shape and functions of actual organisms, and they occur in all shapes and sizes. The subfossils. These are the remains of the animals and plants that are preserved in rocks less than 10,000 years ago. This also includes the remains of bison trapped in the frozen ice or ancient man which was mummified in the caves. The subfossils were formed after the last ice age during Holocene epoch. Then comes the microfossils. These are the fossil remains of microscopic animals and plants, which are usually less than 0.5 millimeters or 1/50th of an inch in size. However, the skeletal deposits of these organisms may assume a diameter of 10 centimeters, that is 4 inches or so. The macrofossils. The macrofossils are larger than 1 centimeter in size. These include the fossils of more advanced plants and animals such as the clams, the corals, or the skeleton of the vertebrates. Then comes the unusual fossils. The unusual fossils are formed by the combination of events and conditions which result in all or most of the organisms getting preserved in the rocks. The famous deposits of the Solenfond limestone of southern Germany and the Burgess shales of Canada contain the unusual fossils. They are the mammoths dug from the Siberian wastes and the remains of Archaeopteryx, the first bird from Solenhofen in Bavaria, which is in Germany. The sixth type of fossils is the trace fossils. These are fossils of footprints and trails that are left in mud by organisms that lived in past. For example, the dinosaurs' footprints, the worm trails and the clam burrows are all trace fossils. It means the trace fossils are formed as a result of day-to-day activities of the organisms such as walking, crawling, burrowing, boring or feeding. Then comes the coprolites. Coprolites are also trace fossils. These are fossils of droppings of animals or fecal matter. These may vary in size from tiny fecal pellets of sea snail to the large coprolites of crocodiles, dinosaurs, or mammals. These are found in association of the animal fossils who made them. The study of fossil excreta may provide valuable information pertaining to the food habits of the fossil form. The eighth type is the bioclast. The bioclast are fossils or fragments of fossils enclosed in sediments. This term is usually applied to thin sections of fossils under microscope. Then comes the burrows and boring. The burrows in which some animals live in the burrows, tubes, and even holes in the ground, wood or rocks for shelter or in search of food. The burrows in which they lived may be later filled with the sediments and preserved. They are also regarded as fossils. Several fossil shells and woods have borings made by some other organisms. They are also considered as fossils. Then we have the gastroliths. These are found in abundance in the body cavities of certain reptiles. These structures are believed to have been of some use in grinding the stomach contents of the extinct reptiles. And in the last we have the pseudofossils. These are the pseudofossils are the many objects of the inorganic origin which closely resemble the forms of organic origin and are found in the sedimentary rocks. These are referred to as pseudofossils. So, today we studied about what is fossil and the different types of fossils. In the next lecture, we will take up the formation of these fossils, how these fossils are formed.